Dear students, welcome to all of you in the class of fluid mechanics. In today's lecture, we will be familiar with different types of fluid and fluid flows. Along with this, we will study about vapor pressure and cavitation. Fluids can be categorized on the basis of different properties. On the basis of viscosity, fluid is classified as ideal fluid and real fluid. A fluid with zero viscosity is called ideal fluid, and those fluids which possesses viscosity are called real fluid. All the fluids in reality have some viscosity. So all the fluids present in the planet are termed as real fluid. We can also say ideal fluid is a hypothetical fluid. As far as Newton's law of viscosity concerned, fluid can be categorized as Newtonian fluid and non-Newtonian fluid. Fluid that follows Newton's law of viscosity are known as Newtonian fluid, and those that do not follow are called non-Newtonian fluids. Non-Newtonian fluid is further classified on the behavior of apparent viscosity. When the apparent viscosity decreases with increasing shear strain rate, then the fluid is termed as pseudoplastic fluid. And when the apparent viscosity increases with increasing shear strain rate, then it is called dilatance fluid. Plastic fluid are those type of non-Newtonian fluid which can sustain finite shear stress without any deformation. However, once the shear stress exceeds that the finite stress, then they flow like a fluid. This figure depicts the shear stress variation with rate of shear strain for different types of fluid. In some fluids, it is observed that their viscosity changes over time. If the apparent viscosity decreases with time under a constant applied shear stress, then it is called thixotropic fluids. And when the apparent viscosity increases with time, then it is termed as rheopectic fluid. Remember all this formula associated with different fluid types. These were all classification of fluids. Now we will see the classification of fluid flow. The fluid flow due to flowing of ideal fluid is called ideal flow or inviscid flow. The ideal flow has zero viscosity. But in reality, all the fluids have some viscosity and their flow is called real flow or viscous flow. On the basis of density variation, fluid can be divided into two groups. The flow is said to be incompressible if density remains nearly constant throughout the flow. But if the density variation during a flow is more than 5%, then it is treated as compressible fluid flow. The degree of incompressibility of the flow can be measured by a dimensionless number called the Mach number. The next classification of fluid flow is based on the characteristics of streamlines. If the fluid particles move along well-defined path and all the streamlines are parallel, then the flow is characterized as laminar flow. But if the fluid particles move in a zigzag way, then the flow is classified as turbulent flow. A dimensionless number called Reynolds number is a parameter that determines whether the flow is laminar or turbulent. If the Reynolds number is less than 2000, the flow is called laminar. If the Reynolds number is more than 4000, the flow is called turbulent flow. And if the Reynolds number lies between 2000 and 4000, the flow may be laminar or turbulent. The next classification of the fluid flow is a steady and unsteady flow. When the properties of the fluid do not change over time at a point, it is known as a steady flow. And when the fluid properties at a point show variation with time, it is called unsteady flow. Now the fluid flow can also be categorized as uniform flow and non-uniform flow. When in the flow field, the velocity and other hydrodynamic properties do not change from point to point at any instant of time, then that flow is called uniform flow. And when this property change from one point to another, the flow is defined as non-uniform flow. When an external force is required for the fluid to flow, that flow is called forced flow, like in case of pump, water and other similar things. And when the flow occurs due to density difference or head difference, then that flow is called natural flow. For example, a warmer fluid rises in a container due to density difference, flow in river, canal, etc. Fluid flow can also be classified based on the rotational characteristics of fluid particles. The flow in which fluid particles rotate about their own axis while flowing along the streamlines is called rotational flow. And if the fluid particles while flowing along the streamlines do not rotate about their own axis, then that type of flow is called irrotational flow. And the last classification of the fluid flow is based on velocity variation in different directions. A flow field in which the velocity distribution changes is only in one direction is called one-dimensional flow. If it changes in two directions, it is called a two-dimensional flow. And if it varies in all the three directions, then it is known as three-dimensional flow. All the molecules in the fluid are in constant motion, due to which they possess some energy. Some molecules in the surface layer that have sufficient energy escape from the liquid surface and change from the liquid state to gaseous state. If the space above the liquid is confined, then these gaseous molecules exert a pressure on the liquid surface, which is called vapor pressure of that liquid. The molecules leaving the liquid through evaporation exert upward pressure on the air molecules present in the atmosphere. This upward push is called the vapor pressure. As the temperature of the liquid increases, the energy in the liquid molecules will increase, which will increase the evaporation, which results in higher vapor pressure. This vapor pressure lowers the effect of atmospheric pressure on the liquid. A time comes when the vapor pressure is equal to the atmospheric pressure. At that time, without any external pressure, the liquid molecules are able to spread out and change from liquid to gaseous phase. This phenomena is known as boiling. So it can be concluded that boiling occurs when the surrounding pressure is equal to or less than the vapor pressure of the liquid. The vapor pressure of water at room temperature is about 3.17 kilopascal or 0.03 atm, which is much less than the atmospheric pressure. Boiling can be achieved in two ways, either by increasing the liquid temperature or decreasing the surrounding pressure. It means that boiling of water may occur at room temperature if the pressure is reduced sufficiently. For example, water will boil at 60 degrees Celsius temperature if the pressure is reduced to 0.2 atm. In fluid system, it is sometimes seen that a low pressure zone develops somewhere. If the pressure in such area is equal to or less than the vapor pressure, the liquid boils and forms a bubble of vapor. When these vapor bubbles enter into the area of high pressure, these bubbles are squeezed under high pressure and produce an intense shock wave. If this phenomena occur in contact with a solid surface, the high pressure developed by the collapsing bubble can erode that material and form a small cavities on the surface. This phenomenon is called cavitation. Cavitation can be developed in liquid carrying pipelines or in hydraulic devices and causes failures. The blade of a pump or water wheel are sometimes destroyed by such phenomena. That's all for this lecture. Thank you.